Jumpstart your writing, get over the hump. Jump into fiction with Shirley Jump. Jumpstart your writing, get over the hump. Jump into fiction with Shirley Jump.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Writing Sprints. Sorry I didn't have one last week, but I was busy speaking in Jacksonville, so I did miss you all. And I did have a great time in Jacksonville. If you were able to attend the Zoom, let me know in the comments because I know some people signed up for the Zoom presentation on that. So if you've never been to these writing sprints before, what we do is we write for like 15 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on where we're at in the schedule of the whole thing, because I don't want you to think about it. I don't want you to worry about it. I don't want you to be like, oh my God, is that the right word? Should I put this sentence, that sentence? I want you to just get something on the page. And that's the whole goal of the sprints, kind of like in track where you don't think, you just do. So nice to see you guys, Robert and Lovelight Shine and Silverali and Heather. Good to see you guys. I feel like it's like kind of like been a while that I've been away. And I will be here next week, but then on the 31st, which is the last Friday of the month, I won't be here because my parents are in town and then I have to go to an event. So I got to put my family first. Plus there'll be dinner involved. So it'll be fun. I have a writing prompt for you guys today. I'll load that in a little bit. And I did want to drop a link to the latest video, which is like a prequel to one of the more popular videos on the channel about 7 fatalish mistakes in your first chapter. I changed up the thumbnail for that one because I wanted it to kind of more match what I've been doing lately. And you all know I'm going through like thumbnail anxiety. I'm constantly changing them up, trying to find what works for me, but I kind of like what I'm doing right now, so it might stay that way for a while. But that's the new video. And it really does kind of talk about all the mistakes that I made before I sold my first book. And if you don't know me, I'm Shirley Jump. I'm a New York Times, USA Today, Amazon, Wall Street Journal, and Publishers Weekly bestselling author of 85 books published in 24 countries. I worked for 4 of the big 5. I've also self-published some of my books. I'd say like 80% of my books are published through New York, traditional publishers in New York, and the other 20% are self-published. And I do have a book, I always forget to mention it, that's why I put it in my community section on the channel, called Writing Compelling Fiction, that puts everything that you need to know, or everything that I knew in my head at the time I wrote it, in there. And the workbook is almost done. I'm going to finish it today during our writing session, so I will have a Writing Compelling Fiction workbook coming out. Nice to see you, Danica and Wendy. Good to see you guys. So let's get started on our first sprint. I'm going to throw up the writing prompt, and I make it bigger when I'm off and you guys have the music going. So you can try this if you want, because I was thinking about this the other day. I must have had some trauma come up from when I was in middle school. But what is your character's worst school memory, and how did that moment impact them? And I apologize, by the way, for the glasses and the reflection. I have pink eye. So I'm wearing my dorky glasses, and if I miss your question, it's because it takes I usually wear contacts and it takes me a little longer to focus. So anyways, nice to see you guys, and we'll do our first 15 minutes. And then if you have a writing question in between, you just drop it in the chat and I will answer it when we come back. So let me start the timer and I'll play some music and you guys can do some writing, and I'm going to work on the rest of the workbook. See you in 15. It's always quick. So good to see you guys. Hi, Kirsten, pro editor turned author. All my books took a month to finish. The work of progress is going on 6 months, all different scenarios. How do I know which is best for my characters? Actually, I have a lot of videos on my channel about that. You really have to go back to your character's deep emotional wounds, and people who've been here before will know that, and just kind of echo that. That's what I talk about: is their deep emotional wounds, the traumas that they had as a child. You want to make them, or as in earlier in their life. It doesn't necessarily have to be as a child. You want to make them face those deep emotional wounds so that they grow and change. And so some plots will work with certain characters and they won't work with other characters because it is not going to trigger growth and change for that character. So, like in Taken, Liam Neeson's daughter being taken triggers his deep emotional wound of not being there for his daughter. And every time he tries and fails, that reinforces that trauma, that reinforces that internal belief that he was not there for her. So if it had just been a plot where, I don't know, he had to take her to the school dance, that wouldn't have had those kinds of stakes that would have triggered the deep emotional wound. So really look at who the character is and what would be the best plot for them. I also have some videos on Worst Nightmare, which is basically the same thing, making them face their deepest fears. And I love making that happen for people in books because it's so much more fun to do it to other people than to ourselves. And Silver Ollie, cool, a new poem for the mermaid book. That's awesome. It sounds like fun. I'm still working on the writing compelling fiction workbook, and I'm telling you, I could just like have 20 more sections. I think I'm just going to kind of stop with the plot and do a little bit on characters because otherwise it's going to get really, really big. And you know me, I tend to be a little wordy. So I'm already at like 15,000 words and I haven't even put in some of the other stuff yet. So I'm going to have to like kind of tone it back a little bit because it's a lot. But I think you guys are going to love it. It does take what I've already put on the channel and in the circle community and take it a little bit deeper so that you can try it a little bit more and really dig in deeper into those characters and who they are and really figure out what's going on with them and how you can torture them on the page. So let me know too what you're working on and where you're coming from, because I know we have some new people here and probably some people watching the replay because 4 o'clock on Fridays doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes it barely works for me because of work. But yes, I'm really excited that you're here, especially all the new people. Okay, so let's do another 15 minutes. I don't see any other questions. So if you have a question, just drop it into the chat and I'll get to it in a second when we come back. But we'll do another 15 minutes and, oh, my timer's going off still. I was like, what's buzzing? And do some more writing. See you soon. Look at that. Another 15 minutes went by pretty quickly. And I only have one, I have an FAQ in the back of the workbook, and I just have one question left to answer. I was typing as fast as I could, thinking I can do it in 30 seconds. I couldn't. So you're welcome, Kirsten. I appreciate you being here. And hey, John, nice to see you here. Thank you so much. Yeah, the live streams have been pretty popular with the people on the channel because writing is a pretty lonely gig. So you get to talk about writing and see other writers. So that's awesome. And Oklahoma, Kirsten. Oh, that's so sounds so cold to me. I'm in Florida, and I'm such a baby when it comes to the cold. We watched this Cole the Corn Star on YouTube, my husband and I, because he's building and farming and stuff, and I don't even know how I got sucked into it. But the kid's nice and likable and fun to watch. And he's in Iowa, and it just looks so cold every time that they're there. Wendy's adding the emotional stuff, which is awesome. And Nashville, Love Light Shine. And I love Nashville. Trish, oh yes, that's your name. Sorry. And I will probably forget that by next week. So I'm sorry if I do. It's a lot of people that come in and out. So I sometimes forget. And historical romance. I love historical romances. Two of my very good friends write historical romances, Renee Ryan and Donna Allward. Donna's first book is coming out very soon. And then Renee Ryan's, I think, is coming out soon as well. I don't know if it's already out. I should really know that information. But I love historical romance. I bet you guys are all watching the new Bridgerton, which I haven't started yet because I'm trying to finish the Hacks series on HBO first. And Danica, my character's worst memory was getting confined in a nunnery for reading scriptures without permission, but I don't know how to convey it in her behavior without info dumping. Ooh, I like that one. I love that mean Catholic school nuns. So you want to think about what emotional impact that has on somebody. So if she has been um, confined for breaking the rules, then every time she steps out of the rules, is she going to feel terrified that things are going to fall apart on her, or is she going to feel like this is, yeah, I'm getting it back at them? I don't know how she responded to that emotionally, but that's what you want to get across, is how that impacted her emotionally. So did it make her afraid to take chances, or did it make her really determined to always take chances? Because you sort of react one of two ways to things. Hello, Walmart Gremlin and Jason. Nice to see you guys. And yes, Heather, these keep me on track as well, because otherwise, y'all know I probably wouldn't work on stuff. I do my other work during the week. And Danica, you're not going to info dump. Another point with that, unless that memory is triggered. So let's say that she is stuck in a room for like 15 for like an hour or 5 hours or whatever, or like a tiny little space that will trigger that memory. I don't know if you guys have watched Them on Prime. It's super terrifying. Like it's, to me anyways. I love horror, but I have to watch like an episode of Schitt's Creek or Everybody Loves Raymond before I go to bed, because it just messes me up with my sleep. But in Them, there's this corner in the closet. This is season 2 that I'm talking about. There's a corner in the closet, and the character has a couple characters have a reaction to it, but we don't know why. We just know that they have a reaction, and that reaction is triggered because of the memory that they have that doesn't come out until close to the end, because that memory sort of ties everything all together. But you can see that structure of this corner in the closet. It had a huge impact on them as children, and it manifests in the ways that they respond to different things, like not being able to breathe and feeling claustrophobic and all of that. That little section in the closet triggers all of that for these characters. So hopefully that answered your question, Danica. I love that name. I have a friend named Danica as well. And yes, I'm so happy to see so many people here. It's awesome. So I'm so excited that you did the writing prompt. And Trish, you said you had questions for me too in the when we were talking in the comments of one of the new videos. And Robert, I love writing dialogue. So this little secret about me, generally my first drafts of books are very dialogue heavy, because I love writing dialogue, and it flows out of me as fast as I talk, which people sometimes complain about how quickly I talk on the channel, but that's me. There's no slowing it down here on the live stream. And so I love writing dialogue. And so it's sort of a skeleton, and I just let the characters talk and I get to know them, like, watching over the neighbor's fence and figuring out what these people are doing. So that's awesome. Yeah. It's one of my favorite things to do. So Trish, if you do have the questions, just throw them in the chat. And in the meantime, let's do another 15 minutes, because I have that little bit left to finish up in the workbook so that I can bring it to you guys really soon. I'm super excited. 15 minutes. Yeah, that was another 15 minutes. I finished the Writing Compelling Fiction workbook and I sent it off to the copy editor. So I'm really stoked to release that for you guys. As soon as I get back from her, I'll have more of a date for my release date. I want to get it out as kind of as soon as possible because it would be really great to be able to talk about it in the videos. And I've been creating all of these little writing exercises and stuff. And Danica, I love that's why your character avoids staying alone at all times. That is a perfect observation. That is really, really cool. Yeah, I love that. I think that's a great thing. And Trish, second draft, having difficulty getting my characters on the same page in the first few chapters. Well, the best way to do that is to give them goals that interconnect. They don't necessarily have to be the same goal, but like in Pretty Woman, where Edward has to hire somebody to be his date to go to all of those events, for the meetings with the business owner, he has a different goal than Vivian does, but they end up together all the time because she becomes part of his goal. Her goal is to make enough money to escape her life. So she takes the job to make all that money and escape the life that she has and maybe go to school and all of that. So it's really all kind of about making sure their goals intersect. They don't have to be the same, but they definitely need to intersect so that they have a reason to be on the page at the same time, especially in a romance, because that is really vital. The reader is reading because they want to see that romance, and more than 50% of the book needs to be hero and heroine together in order for it to be a romance. And Jason, what's the most original romance novel I've ever read? I don't know. It's been I didn't read romance when I was writing romance because I didn't want anybody else's books to bleed into mine. The latest one that I read, it was really, really good, was Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. Actually, the first book I read by Kennedy Ryan was probably the best written romance I've ever read in my life. And it was really, really good. I don't remember which one it was. I don't think I have it on my shelf anymore. But she's a very strong writer. And I really, really loved that book. And I loved how she did it. If any of you guys have read it, it's the one with the guy that becomes a professional basketball player. And they get together, break up, get together, break up. And I really, really loved that book. And I was like on the edge of my seat until the end. So I would say that. Hi, Miss Blogger. Nice to see you. And good job, Silver Ollie. 2 lines of the poem done and working on the meter. And yes, I've heard of emotional dynamic change. If you didn't know, I do have a degree in English. And I've been writing for quite a long time. So Trish, if you have any other questions, please feel free to drop them into the chat so that I can answer them. And I want to do one more because I just pulled up my book. It feels like I've been away from it for a year. It's actually been like a couple months. But I would love a little chance to work on that. So let's do, I accidentally started my timer again. Oh, Kirsten, let's do this question first, and then I'll see how long I have for time. I need mine to stop trying to fall in love too early. Yes. And so you definitely need them to have conflicts that keep them from falling in love that stem from their deep emotional wounds. So if, let's say that the hero's parents got divorced when he was 5 and it was super traumatic, then that deep emotional wound is going to keep him from getting attached. He's going to let people go before they hurt him. Or let's say that she was abandoned by her mother and raised in a foster care system. She's not going to get attached to people. So those internal things that we all have that make us sabotage our relationships, not all the time. I mean, most of us, we grow and change and we don't do that anymore. But your character has things that makes them sabotage the relationship because of their emotional issues that they haven't completely gotten over until the end of the book. So you want to see how those can conflict and how that would make one character not want to get close to the other and vice versa. And Silver Alley, well, major props to you. Admire people can write songs and poems. Yes, my daughter writes songs, and sometimes she'll have me critique them. And she's like, Mom, that's not, we can't do that in a song, because I'm all about getting the language just right. And she's like, this is a song, it's not a story. So, and yes, I do know, I actually know Barbara. So, yes, I've heard of her. And 723 books, yes, dictation. So I don't write as well with dictation. And it's funny, a lot of the clients that I work with for ghostwriting, they can write with their mouths. Like most of us can tell a story really well with our mouths, especially if you're doing your life story. But when it comes to the keyboard, a lot of times they're just overwhelmed. And so that's where a ghostwriter, editor like me comes in handy. And so I can't imagine doing that because I can't write fiction by dictation. I did, however, write How to Publish Your Articles, which was my second nonfiction book way back when. I think it came out in 2000 or 2001. I wrote that by dictation because I was working so much that my hands basically gave out. I had carpal tunnel. I was really struggling. So I wrote that book by dictation. But I really can't do fiction. I try, and my Siri is too stupid to hear me. And so she misses a lot of stuff. And it just doesn't come out the same way as when I'm on the keyboard. And so, Ms. Balgar, have you ever read a road retelling? If so, what's your favorite retelling that you wrote and read? So I did do a retelling of The Frog Prince. I had a continuity that I did way back early in my career for, I believe it was Silhouette Romance at the time. I don't think it was Harlequin Romance yet. The two companies merged and they changed the name of the line. But there was 4 of us that we all worked on this series together, and it was retelling of favorite fairy tales. And that was actually really fun. I did enjoy that. I think I've done a couple others, but I don't remember them, but that one comes to mind right away. Okay, all right, let's do 10 minutes. And yes, Barbara Cartland, I have an interesting story about that, but I don't think I can share it on live. But yes, I do know her very well. I read her books when I was young and really thought it was awesome. So let's do 10 minutes and we'll go with that, and then we'll be done until next week. always goes so super fast, which I love. And yes, Kirsten, I love Nora. I got to do a signing with her at her bookstore in Boonesboro, which was actually like a really cool highlight of my career. She invited me up, and I've known her for years. I served on the board of RWA, so we got to spend time with Nora all the time, go to her private parties and stuff at the conferences. She's a lovely person and very shy in real life and really awesome. Um, I love everything that she writes, and I'm flattered that you would think that I'm anything like her because I think she's incredible. She's really awesome. And thank you, Trish, and finishing another book. Yeah, I'm so excited that I'm done with it because I've been promising it to you guys for like months, but life has gotten in the way. And yes, a year on YouTube. I can't believe it. I was going to do like a here's my journey video, and then I traveled. I didn't get time, and so I didn't do it. But I put up a community post. My coach with vidIQ would tell me to go back and do a video, but I probably by the time I get to it, it'll probably be July. So and Miss Blogger, we talk about Abby Evans almost every week, and yes, I have heard of her. And I don't read her books. So I'm so glad that you guys all joined me today. I'm really happy that you all were here and that I got to write with you and actually got to work on the new book for a little bit. That made me super excited. And hopefully I answered everybody's questions. If I didn't, feel free to drop it in the comments or, shoot over to the community because my circle community is free. I don't have the link up right here, of course, because I should, but I don't. My circle community is where all of my resources are, where everything resides so that you can find it all in one place. The master plot plan, the master character plan, all of that is there. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys next week for another live stream. Thanks so much. See you later.